Hey everyone, welcome back to our next conversation in our video series. Today's topic is a very complex one, and so I'm thrilled that we have such a subject matter expert who breaks it down and makes it really digestible in the guest I'm about to introduce. So without further ado, let's jump into her introduction. Catherine Crim from Search Discovery. You want to say hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jenni. Catherine Crim here, and I am a senior optimization manager here at Search Discovery. I have been doing digital optimization and A/B testing for my entire career. So just over a decade of experience there. Before that, I got my undergraduate in research psychology, so it was a natural progression there. So yeah, today I think we're going to be talking about cookieless future. The last 2 years ago, I kind of was reading some things on the internet, and I was like, is that what I think it is? And it turns out yes. And so I've gone deep into what that means technically and for our non-technical people in marketing and digital experience. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Love it. So you teed us up perfectly. Our topic is very specifically going to be about, what will the future of digital optimization look like in this cookieless world? And so with that tee up perfectly in place, I'd love to ask, what's your elevator explanation of cookieless future?
Yeah, so first, I can't overemphasize the importance of these changes. They will impact you. They are impacting you right now as you watch this Q&A. In a lot of ways, the future is now. First, let's talk about very quickly the cookieless or cookie-full past. So things like Cambridge Analytica, GDPR, CCPA are all factors in why this is all going on, right? Like the idea that visitors on the web have the right to know that they are being tracked is how all of this came to be. And so now we're seeing more and more browsers restrict cookies. And what does that mean? So it's similar to the problem we have with omni-channel tracking and cross-device tracking, if you can think about it in that way. But now it is within device tracking. So we've been using cookies since the birth of the internet to connect dots between an individual's past behavior, so previous sessions, to their current behavior, and then obviously in the future. And so that is how we have done identity resolution. You'll hear about that a lot if you look into cookieless future more. And so with those cookies used to last 2 years or indefinitely. But with Apple at the helm, some of those cookies only last 24 hours now. So you only get to know a person and have that identity of a single person for 24 hours. Tops on Safari and Apple, 7 days. So it's really changed from the 2 years, like a little over 2 years ago, now down to a week and sometimes a day. So that when we erase cookies, when we clear cookies, and when Apple on Safari does it for you, that link becomes broken. So you can't see the past data. And eventually other browsers will implement these things. Firefox already has. Chrome, Google has been the slowest to adopt cookieless. And I mean, that is because they have a ads platform. And so it's not competitively, competitively advantaged for them to clear cookies. But they're even coming around. They just pushed third-party cookies. They said that they would not allow those anymore. And I think in the next 5 years, there will be legislation that requires them to remove cookies after a certain point in time, even if they don't want to do it themselves.
Yeah, that's a great summary. I think we probably have a pretty broad mix of people who are really familiar with it and find it both overwhelming and terrifying a little bit, and those who are maybe less familiar with it who need to understand both what it is and its implications. So I think that summary should be really helpful for folks. You know, kind of layering onto that terror that comes with not being able to track in the digital marketing space. Specifically, what challenges do you see coming within the world of digital optimization?
Yeah, I really empathize with that scared feeling. You know, 2 years ago, I was reading some articles on WebKit and what that was meaning for front-end testing specifically. And I was like, document.cookie is going to be limited to 7 days. And I was just like, that means that all of my A/B tests are only going to stay persistent for 7 days. And so I spent a long time trying to conjure up a fix for this situation. I was like, how do I fix this? And what I've learned and what I want to tell you guys is trying to get back to what was and what is a waste of time. These updates are continually happening like every few months. And so trying to solution to get back to where you were, you're just gonna continually be behind the curve. Once you figure something out, I know that, you know, CNAME records is a thing that you might read about, and Apple squashed that. So like Apple is aware of of the workarounds, and they are continually making those not work anymore. So really, we can only go forward and solution for this new reality. How do we work in a cookieless world? There's a few different things at the high level. Not as much as about users is going to be known when they come to the website. Your timeline of known attributes is a lot shorter. In some cases, you won't know anything about them, and that's a big thing. Is like that kind of moves into the challenges within digital analytics, which are where you feel it the most. So, you know, digital analytic platforms are going to behave just like they always have. They're a machine, and they're going to ingest, and they're going to say, if there's no cookie on this visit, then you're a new visitor. But if Apple has cleared your cookies, or if you've cleared your cookies, you are going to have no cookie, even if you are a return visitor. And so what does that mean? So, hey, users aren't going to be identified across visit. That means that marketing channel attribution is going to have issues. So you're going to have, if someone comes in via a paid ad, leaves their tab open even, and comes back to it a day and a half later, they're going to look like a new visit direct to the site, which really is going to pump up brand teams and hurt your and underestimate the contribution that your marketing teams and your PPC are having on the bottom line. It's going to inflate unique visitors because, hey, every single person looks like a new visitor, even if they are a return visitor on their 4th session. That's going to just up your denominator. It's going to inflate your percentage of new visitors because, hey, not only is your denominator increasing, but that new visitor numerator is increasing. It's going to deflate your conversion rate. So year over year, that's a really hard one. It's like, how are we doing comparatively speaking to last year? Well, you're going to do worse. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you are doing better with more traffic, you are really doing better, and you should know how to discuss this because most people will see red when they compare year over year, simply because of this cookie deletion and new visitor bloat that we're seeing moving forward. And then A/B testing. Oh, go ahead. What's up?
I was just going to say, I always knew cookies were going to make us bloated in the end. We just didn't know it was going to be this way.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I was a Chips Ahoy kid. My husband has really hit the Oreos since pandemic started. So
Oreos have been a friend in pandemic for sure.
Yeah. And then specifically to A/B testing, where I kind of live most of my day, really the issues are that with state persistence. So someone who visits multiple times during a test may receive the A version or the B version. They come back to the site without cookies, and they were in A. They have a 50% chance to go into B without cookies. And so that's not great, because, hey, that means that conversions might not be correctly attributed to the experience delivered. So what does that mean? Well, it leads to a lot more inconclusive flat tests, because if you're switching between variations, even if you are in the variation to start out with, your conversion could be attributed to A, and that's just going to create noise. And so that noise is what you have to get through to get to results. And so when you increase that noise, you increase your likelihood of flat tests, which I strongly hold is the enemy of any optimization program. Losers are still learners, as we used to say at Clearhead, and inconclusive flat tests are really, they don't give you anything. They give you some reporting, but that's a lot of man hours and resources for reporting.
Yeah,
so.
we've come back to that theme a lot of, you know, the WEVO team obviously here's a lot of need for that why piece. And to your point, the winners and losers tests can start to uncover that, but you need that why answer. Yeah, that all makes a ton of sense. Now, of course, I want cookies. So to distract me, let's talk a little bit more about, is there a particular impact that you expect to see across marketing channels?
Oh yeah, I mean, Apple is taking a shot directly at the advertising giants. I mean, it's not all altruistic. We care about the user. It's a value prop, right? Like they don't have an ads platform. Apple doesn't, and so they have a advantage to, and a reason to pump privacy as their value prop, because it hurts their competitors. So Google, Facebook, if you've clicked through from a Facebook ad, a Google ad, you get to know that visitor for 24 hours. That's it. If they're on an Apple device, either Safari or specifically on mobile, that's where you really feel it, is because iPhone, especially in North America, has the market share. You're going to know that, like if they come on their mobile device, you're going to know them for 24 hours. So what does that mean? ROAS is like return on ad spend is going to plummet, especially if you have a longer sales cycle. Brand teams are going to get credit, like I was talking about earlier. If you click through from an advertisement, leave the tab open for 25 hours, come back to that tab, you're going to look direct to the site. You're going to look like you are direct to the site with that convert, like if you are then to convert. And so when this all started, I actually did an analysis of what percentage of paid traffic conversions were happening after that 24-hour mark. So at least 24 hours had passed. And this was looking at 2016 data, actually, because we started seeing changes during 2017. With that client, 30% of their paid traffic revenue was coming after the 24-hour mark, which means that's the pie that can be misattributed to other channels. And so knowing that if you're in digital marketing is really important, and being able to talk about that is really important, because likely return on ad spend is going to go down. It's just what's going to happen. Another thing is new visitors. That's going to mean a lot less, because your new visitors are actually going to be some new, some return that look new. And yeah, really last touch is going to become the king. Multi-touch attribution is you're going to have difficulty with it, because you're just losing that connection point between session.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes a ton of sense. That last touch is going to become really critical. So that in mind, and kind of also tying to that understanding of why and accuracy, right, and somehow bridging that. What are the new or innovative approaches that you're aware of and hearing about that are going to help to compete in this new cookieless world?
Yeah. So like I was saying, I tried to find fixes and found that just building new strategies not dependent on cookies is really how you're going to compete moving forward. So what does that entail? For some companies, it's going to be server-side testing, but that is a heavy lift on the development side. So if your dev resources are strapped already, which most are, that's going to be difficult and a very high level of effort to implement. Some things that'll still work with cookies is within session optimization. So that's mostly like search results. Are we giving search results that are relevant? And trying to optimize based on those search results. Logged in visit optimization. So you'll still have that key. But that really kind of ties into server-side testing. So it's kind of a similar approach. Your email, like, hey, emailers, email marketers, that list is going to become a lot more valuable, because at least for a session, you're going to know who those people are. And then really it comes down to non-cookie based approaches, which that's like the beauty of WEVO. Without cookies, WEVO is able to talk through the why of journey optimization.
Yeah, we hear a lot about that cross-channel fit and need becoming even more critical, just in general, and certainly as cookies are evaporating. Yeah, that's a great list of kind of resource plan ideas for people. Speaking of lists, I know you always keep your finger on the pulse of what's hot and next. So would love if you could share kind of your resources, your best ways you've found to stay up to date on trends like this.
Yeah, totally. So there are a few people that I follow and a few resources out there that I have on my daily updates. So John Weilander, I think that's how you say your last name, John. I'm sorry if it's not. He's a developer from Apple who works on WebKit, which is the people putting out ITP, Intelligent Tracking Prevention. He's a great resource at John Weilander on Twitter. Corey Underwood, who is one of my colleagues here at Search Discovery. I can't tell you how validated I felt when I started reading Corey's blog posts, because I'm not a developer. I'm somewhat technical, but I'm not a developer. So when I first started learning about this, I was like, maybe I'm wrong. This seems really extreme. And Corey talks through the problem very technically, but succinctly in a way that like you can really understand. So you definitely should follow Corey. TLC Slack, which is the learning channel Slack. My colleague and boss, Kelly Wortham, created a Slack for optimizers and A/B testers called TLC, the learning the Learning Channel. You can remember it that way. And then the Search Discovery blog. We put out a lot of content about this. Corey puts out a lot of content about this. I put out some content about this. So I would implore you to take a look at our blog.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and we'll obviously tag you on this video when it comes out so folks can reach out to you as well to connect and get into those Slack channels and blog resources. And you guys really are just such great subject matter experts on thinking about what's next before your clients and customers have to, which is a really important thing. Awesome. So tons of great info today. As expected, you made the really complex and scary seem digestible and much less overwhelming. Would love to kind of end on any parting thoughts or words that you have as we sort of wrap up today's conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I'm going to start with where I started, which is I can't stress enough that you need to know that this is happening, and you need to educate yourself to be able to talk about it. Because if you don't, you're going to look like you're underperforming at whatever your thing is. And so definitely, especially if you're in PPC digital marketing, learn how to talk about this so that it doesn't look like you're doing as bad as you might be, as the reporting tools might say you are. That said, a lot is negative and panicky about this situation. It's a lot of doom and gloom. I want to stress that while there is some doom and gloom, while there is some sadness of what was, there's a lot of huge opportunity moving forward. You've got opportunity to speak to your visitors, build loyalty in exchange for information, and thankfully there's tools like WEVO where we can get to the why and get meaningful insights without cookies. And so we're not totally at a loss here, and there are people that are figuring out how to continue digital optimization moving forward.
You're
So, yeah.
leading the forefront on that, which is really exciting. I know we could geek out and talk together about different methodologies and insights and results and all that stuff all day long. So I'm super glad that others got to experience a little bit of your glow around this topic. You're just such a resource. So thank you so much, Catherine.
Yeah.
This is a delight, and we look forward to doing another one of these soon on whatever is next and a burning topic in the industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jenni.